One more again. Y'all let me know. Okay? Can you hear me now? Huh? I feel like, can you hear me? Okay. Let me know, chat. I'm looking. I'm looking. I done restarted my phone. I done did all the things. Peace, 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 and wellness. Y'all can hear me? Yay! Butterflies in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look. It's in the book. It's the wellness community. Yes! I'm so excited. I'm very happy that y'all can hear me. Okay, I'm very happy. I said I don't know what it could be, but I just needed to restart my phone. Everything is well and working good. Okay, yes, yes. Y'all come on in the room. Hey, hey, come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes out all my scriptures in the room. Come on, y'all. Ow, come on. Okay, y'all, come on, come on. Let's get to it. Let's stop playing. Let's stop playing. I said normally I'll be like, we had a time last night. That's normally what I'll say. Normally I'll be like, we had a time last night. Y'all, we definitely, wellness community, we had a Zoom. We definitely had a time last night, but this time was a time. Okay. this this was a different time last night, huh? I said, Lord, we we went for 5 hours in total. We did four the first time from 7 to 11. 7 to a little after 11, and then we had to come back and spin the block. Okay, and we had to have some restorative justice going on. And we went from 12:30 to 1:30 a.m. Total of 5 hours. Oh, Lakita said I missed it. Lakita, God was moving in the room, huh? We needed it. Okay, we needed it. But for those of you who are not in the wellness community, after I did the video on gatekeeping here on YouTube, it was requested in the wellness community that can we do a Zoom on gatekeeping, okay? And I said I was hesitant. I didn't want to do it because I know how touchy that topic could be. Okay, because when you talk about gatekeeping, you got to talk about colonization. When you're talking about colonization, you're talking about generational historical trauma. When you're talking about that, you're talking about trauma responses and all kind of stuff. The wellness community is patreon.com/TheQueenPo. Patreon.com/TheQueenPo. Only the five. It's only the five. So I know from my own personal experience that gatekeeping is a touchy topic. And we spent 5 hours. Thank you, Becky Lee, for sharing it. The link is also in the description. Thank you for sharing it in the chat, Becky. And you know, I knew that it was a touchy topic. It was a touchy subject, and the wellness community is a safe space for everyone to share how they feel. And child, folks was sharing, huh? Folks was sharing. They was in the Zoom chat and in the actual Zoom video, just a sharing. And you know, things got shared. And we just gonna leave it at that. Wellness community, I see that y'all spoil yourselves. Let me tell y'all, for my YouTube family, let me tell you how spoiled the wellness community is. We sit here on the YouTube and the sound ain't working the first couple times I tried to go live, and they in the group chat talking about this means we get a private Zoom. Y'all, let the YouTube have some. Okay, let them share some of this information. Okay. But I do want to say that after we do this live, y'all, I do want to have a private Zoom for the wellness community after I finish this live. Because, you know, the Zoom last night, when we talk about topics like gatekeeping and colonization and race and all that stuff, it is a sensitive topic. And as I said in the Zoom last night, that topic is going to come up again. It's going to come up again because as we start to explore more ATRs and understand more ATRs, I cannot hold people's tongue, especially the tongue of the elders, when it comes to talking about the historical trauma that colonization has played on their ATR. So when I have a Sangoma come on and they're in South Africa and they're presently in a fight for their land in South Africa, and they may have some choice feelings and sentiments that they want to share in their choice words, I cannot hold their tongue and police their voice. I cannot do that. So I do want to have a follow-up Zoom with the wellness community after this, cause there's a few things that I want to say after our conversation yesterday. Okay, there's a few things I want to say. A couple from me and a couple from my elders, because y'all know I'm always going to consult my elders. So a couple from me and a couple revelations from my elders about how to move forward when we have topics like this come up. Okay, so we are going to have a follow-up Zoom in the wellness community, patreon.com/TheQueenPo. Thank you, Cash, and everybody who's letting them know. The link is in my bio. The link is in the description of this video. It's in the description of every video. It automatically generates. And Becky also shared it in the chat. But yes, so after this live, y'all be prepared because we will have a Zoom. I will be sending the link, and we will have a Zoom to have some tidy up, follow-up conversation. All right? But before I get to the topic of this live, because the intention of this video right here, this video, is to talk about free-flowing spiritual practices and free-flowing spiritual journey. In the Zoom last night, y'all I feel a little something on my left, huh? I feel a little something. But in the Zoom last night, I started out the Zoom by talking about practicing multiple things on your spiritual journey, right? So oftentimes we go on a spiritual journey and we pick up various practices. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about practicing multiple things, multiple practices and traditions while on a spiritual wellness journey. I want to talk about why it's important to do that, how to do it, and how you can continue to do that as you further your journey, potentially into initiating in an ATR. So that's the intention of this Zoom. But before I get there, y'all, I was sent a little present. I got to make sure there ain't nothing showing, there ain't no label showing, but I was sent a little present, okay, and I want to open it up here. I want to open it up here on the live, okay? Y'all remember intercrystallization? So look at Diddy. You know, Diddy like, what we got? Remember intercrystallization sent me a package a while ago, and we unboxed it together, opened it up together. This package I want to open up with y'all, and we could see what it looked like. This is my first time. You see I got my scissors. I'm busting the box down. We could see what it looked like and what's going on up in here, huh? Because I always love to share in my gifts and my presents with you all. Okay, this is a big old box. Look at, you know Diddy. Hold on, y'all. You know Diddy got to be all up in the video. Okay, look. Huh? We opening it up. Okay. All right. Okay, family. I'm pulling it out the box. Okay. We got our heart-shaped box. Ooh. Let's get to it. Oh. Y'all know I like to smell everything. I'm a smell person. I like to smell everything. This smells fresh and homemade. Okay, you know I like to smell everything. I like this. Okay, we got a heart-shaped velvet box, y'all. This was a gift that was sent to me by a company called Roses Forever. Y'all, I want to open it up with y'all. It's a box. It's a heart-shaped. Uh-oh, sorry, Diddy. He sounds sensitive. It's a heart-shaped velvet box. Okay, Diddy. And it's sent to me by Roses Forever. Look at the monogram on the side of the box. Diddy, calm down, please. Okay. We gonna open it up. Okay, let's see. I hope don't nothing fall out. Ooh. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Look how big it is. And I got a big head. I'm not no little peanut head girl. I got a dome. And look how big this is. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Roses forever. Rose forever. Look at that. Let me. Oh, it smells so good, y'all. It smell. It smells rosy. It smells rosy, y'all. So let me tell y'all a little bit about Rose Forever, right? So the thing with Rose Forever, these roses, what makes them so special and unique, look, I could sit it up like this. I put it inside the top and I could sit it up like this. What makes them so unique is that these roses last up to a year. They last up to a year. That's why the company is called Rose Forever. They last up to a year, y'all. Okay, this is, they are preserved using a special oil. It's all vegan. It's a whole vegan process. Okay, you know I ain't gonna support it. Oh, if it's not, it's a whole vegan process. These roses last up to a year. You don't need to do anything to them. Okay, you don't need to do anything to them up to a year, and they are supposed to look fresh and beautiful just like the day you open them. So I'm gonna keep y'all updated to see if these last for a year. Diddy, mama trying to do something, Diddy. Mama trying to do something. Come here, come smell them and get used to them, because they're gonna be in the house for up to a year. They're gonna be in the house up to a year. Come on and smell them and get used to them, Diddy. He's scared. He's scared. He's scared because the box is so big. Okay. But yes, they are so beautiful. As I said, they last up to a year. You don't have to do anything to them. Okay. Rose Forever. Now, here's the thing, right? You know, the wellness community, they love y'all. They rock with y'all. So we got us a little discount code for the wellness community. It's $25 off. The code is TheQueenPo25. All of the information is in the description. TheQueenPo25. Now, I said if I don't like it, I ain't going to promote it now. If I don't like it, I ain't going to plug you. I ain't going to show nothing. Opened it up and I love it. Very pleased. They have all different shaped boxes. So this is the heart shape velvet. They also have like the square traditional box. They have all types of materials. They got velvet, they got marble, they have all types of materials. This is a heart shaped velvet. Okay, they have an oval one. They have like a crystal clear box. They have all different types of colors of roses and everything. They got yellow and they got blue and pink and all. This is the red, the intense red. It's gorgeous. They are real roses. They are real roses, and they are preserved using a specific type of oil. All of it is vegan. Okay, the whole process is vegan. Even the box is vegan, including the velvet box is vegan. Okay. Now, holiday season, y'all better get somebody some Rose Forever, okay? Or tell somebody to get it for you up to a year. If your man did it, mama trying to get us a new pair of shoes. Mama trying to make a coin. Mama trying to promote. Let mama be great. Let mama be great, Diddy. You see how Diddy do? Let mama be great, Diddy, you growling at the roses. I promise y'all the roses ain't do nothing to Diddy. He just acting up. Okay? Diddy trying to be in the commercial. Diddy, what if mama was on TV doing the commercial? Then what, Diddy? Huh? What if this was a De Leon? What if I'm in the commercial and Diddy out here acting up? Huh? Then what? Yeah, he want his own box. That's what it is, Jack. He jealous. But as I said, it's different shaped boxes. They have the square, they have the heart, they have different materials, they have marble, they have a crystal clear one, they have various colors of roses, including blues, pinks, reds. So the website and the discount code is in the description. The code is TheQueenPo25. You get $25 off. Holiday season is upon us. Request it from your person. Did it. We gonna tussle. requested from your person, huh? They last up to a year. Beautiful and crisp, just like this. Beautiful and crisp, just like this. Look how big this is. Look how big this box is. Like I said, I'm not no little head girl, and it's up here on me. I'm not no little head girl, and it's on me. Okay, big and beautiful box, huh? Big and beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna put it up on the dresser. Diddy, you just gonna have to get used to this, cause mama is gonna have her roses, huh? I'm gonna have my flowers. Okay, hey Darcel. Darcel, look, I opened it. The Rose Forever. I opened it, Darcel. Okay. Yes, y'all. All right, so let's move forward. Let's move on. Like I said, the website as well as the discount code is in the description of this video. Get into it. Get you some roses that's going to last you up to a year. And if you're in the wellness community and you get some, please send me a picture. I really want to see what the crystal clear box look like. So if you get the crystal clear box, then send me a picture and let me know how you like it. Yes, yes, yes. The TheQueenPo 25. The TheQueenPo 25. The website and the description. I mean, the website and the discount code is in the description of this video. Get into. Okay, Diddy trying to come up and smell it. He trying to get used to it, but I keep on touching the box. Diddy, wait, let me put it in the frame so the people could see that I got roses. Let me scoot it into the frame. Look at this. Where my moderators? We gotta block it. There I go. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, look, we got our roses in the frame. Now let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, hold on one second. Because I want to talk about practicing multiple things while you are on your spiritual journey, your wellness journey. Y'all know I always say study everything, study everything, study everything. And it's important to do so. It's important to study everything, right? So put my roses back in the frame. Hey, Aquarius doula sister, how you doing? Hey, shout out to all the doulas in the world. Okay, shout out to all the doulas in the world. Yes, yes. Now, in the wellness community, it had came up, the question was posed essentially of how can I be initiated into Ifa, which if you are not familiar, Ifa or Isheshe, also known as Isheshe, is an African tradition, also known as African traditional religion. And you can initiate into it. And that when we talk about like Orishas and we talk about, various energy forms, it's usually coming from the Ifa tradition, right? So we have been learning about Ifa. We've been talking about Ifa. It's been a whole thing, a whole discussion. Hey, Jacob, it's been a whole discussion. So the topic had come up in the wellness community of, how do I initiate into Ifa and practice Ifa, but still use other practices that do not come from Ifa, like crystals and tarot cards and things like that, right? So I want to address that topic in this video. And I want y'all to listen to me close, because when we are on our spiritual journey, I always advise study everything. I always advise that. Y'all see I had to scoot my roses closer because I just love the smell. It smells so rosy. Diddy, relax it up, please. Relax it up. When we are on our spiritual journey, I always advise study everything. Study everything. As you are on your journey, as you explore, you are going to come across a variety of practices from a variety of different traditions, right? Some of these practices may touch your spirit. It may touch your soul. It may connect to your Ori, okay? The thing about it, Adiola, my girl. Hey, Adiola. The thing about it is, as you practice these various practices, as you pull from various traditions, it's important that you, number one, give credit to where that practice is coming from. Number two, only do what resonates with your soul. So when you are on your wellness journey, when you are on your spiritual journey, study everything. Study everything. You feel connected to crystals and you feel called to study crystals, study crystals. See what crystals connect with you. See what crystals really elevate and move and shift energy for you. Study it. Practice it. Yoga. You felt connected to yoga. You want to study yoga. You want to practice different things within yoga, different types of yoga. Study it. Practice it. Tarot cards. You feel called to tarot cards. You feel, led to study tarot cards, to work with tarot cards. Study it. Practice it. That's okay, right? I want to remind you, number one, just because you study it does not mean you have to practice it. I'm going to say that again. Just because you study it does not mean you have to practice it. You can just study some things and let that be that. You don't have to practice it all. Okay? Only practice what really resonates and connects with your spirit. Just because you study it does not mean you have to practice it. You will know what's meant for you to try out, to sample, to practice when you are studying it and you feel aligned with it. It just naturally feels aligned with you. It naturally connects with you. There are going to be things that you study that you like, okay, I get this. I understand this. I see where they're coming from, but I don't feel connected. I don't want to practice that. That's just not my thing. And that's okay. You are not obligated to practice everything you study. But the reason studying is important is because when we study, we build understanding. When we study, we build understanding. And our goal on a wellness journey is to understand the all. Our goal is to understand the all. How can you understand the all if you don't study the all? There are people who are on various walks of life, various paths of life, and even if you don't agree with it, study it. Try to build some understanding. How do you know you don't agree if you don't even understand what they're doing and why? So this is why I say study everything. Study everything. Don't just study what you like and what you want to do and what you want to practice and things that you're interested in getting initiated in. Study even the things that you think you don't agree with so that you can deepen your understanding of what it is that you don't agree with and why. So study everything. And again, this is why I said just because you study it does not mean that you have to practice it. As you study everything, you practice what is aligned with you. The goal as you practice is what I say, master those practices. So you study yoga, you practice various forms of yoga. There's a lot of forms of yoga. You practice various forms of yoga. You're studying the history of that, studying where that came from, where it originated, studying how it has transformed forms over the years and has adjusted as it has traveled across the diaspora. Study all of that. So master those practices. Practice them and try to master those practices. When we say master, to master something means to acquire great skill. That's all mastering means. Mastering can be a noun, a verb, or an adjective. When you practice the verb of mastering, you are acquiring great skill in something, right? So master, verb, acquire great skill at those practices. I always I always share Wim Hof breath work in the wellness community, right? I shared it in the Patreon. I shared it in our group chat from the Patreon. And I recently shared an update of it. And I said, hey, y'all, we should have been practicing this for like the past 2 years. Where are you on this journey? Like, are you able to hold your breath for the whole 2 minutes? Where are you on this journey? Because as we are mastering this practice, that means that we are practicing it somewhat consistently, depending on our own life. Consistency is different for everybody. It depends on your own life and your own journey, right? Everybody's journey is unique. But this has been at the forefront of our awareness for the past 2 years or more. Where are you on your journey with this? Have you mastered this practice? How much progress are you making? Are you able to hold your breath for the full 2 minutes or a minute 30? This is how you check in with the level of skill you have acquired. This is how you check in with your mastery. If we're talking about yoga, right? You've been practicing yoga for the past year, 2 years, 3 years. Where are you on mastering yoga? Where are you on mastering your study of crystals? Can you look at a crystal and identify if it's authentic or not? Can you identify what crystals work for what? Have you mastered or acquired great skill in using crystals for healing and wellness, right? So On your spiritual journey, on your wellness journey, study everything to increase your understanding, practice what aligns with you, and then focus on mastering those practices. Now, all these things you study, they come from different places. They come from different cultures, from different countries. They have different historical backgrounds and connections. Like when we talk about the chakras, right? Chakras is not an American thing. Chakras come from India. It comes from and is based in Indian practices, right? So that's the culture, the variety of cultures in India is where chakras come from and has transitioned and changed forms over time, right? Now, we study chakras in a more, in-depth way. You're going to start connecting to Hinduism and pulling from Hinduism. So you have to be able to give credit to where these things come from. Oftentimes, I hate to say this, but we as a people have a habit of colonizing practices, especially on the spiritual and on the wellness journey. We have a habit of colonizing these practices. So this is why I always say give credit. It's okay to study multiple things and practice multiple things, but are you colonizing or are you crediting? Are you colonizing and appropriating, or are you sharing? That's the difference, right? As you are a free-flowing, spiritual, multi-practice person, it's important to understand that, yes, being free-flowing is okay. Practicing multiple practices is okay. But you have no ownership over what does not belong to you. Yesterday, when we had the Zoom, I spoke about how African Americans, hoodoo belongs to you, right? Hoodoo belongs to you. So when we have conversations on gatekeeping as African Americans, you can talk about hoodoo and gatekeeping hoodoo because hoodoo is an African American practice. But you have to be mindful about debating about gatekeeping practices that do not belong to you, right? Also, if you want to gatekeep a practice that belongs to you, you got to be willing to accept when somebody else gatekeeps their practice against you, right? Kind of reminds me about another conversation we had when we talked about, how Native Americans are saying, hey, y'all, we trying to gatekeep white sage. Please don't burn white sage. We are gatekeeping this practice. But a lot of African Americans are like, well, I'm going to buy my sage because it's easily acceptable, and you are crossing gatekeep boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be mindful of that. I just urge everyone that if you are going to practice multiple practices, give credit where credit is due. Credit the people who started those practices. Credit where those practices were founded. You cannot become a colonizer and take these practices and pull from them as though you founded them. You cannot go around teaching these practices as though they come from you and your culture and your lineage without citing your sources of where this comes from. Be mindful of that. Okay, so it's cool to be a free-flowing spiritualist, but make sure that you are crediting your sources. Another message, another word of advice to my free-flowing spiritualists. You gotta respect boundaries. Oftentimes, free-flowing spiritualists, you only want to pull from the practices the parts that serve you. And then you want to blend them with other practices when those things actually don't even really align with each other. And this brings us to our conversation on initiating into an African traditional religion, but still wanting to be a free-flowing spiritualist. Family, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to push your thinking. Let's elevate our thinking. Let's really assess this. African traditional religions, African traditional spiritual practices, right? They come from cultures that still exist to this day. They come with certain boundaries, right? They have cosmologies, right? If you're in the wellness community, I have a video on the various cosmologies that come from ATRs, right? So they have cosmologies. They have their own theories and ideas of how this world was founded, where this information, like where we come from, the universe comes from, the multiverse comes from. Various African traditional religions all have their own cosmology story, and even other spiritual practices and traditional religions from other countries and other places also have their own cosmology stories, right? Practices, morals, values, ways of life that come from these ATRs, that come from these traditions, they have boundaries. Some of them have restrictions. Some of them have clear set rules, I should say, codes of conduct, morals and values, things that we do and don't do. They also have certain rights and privileges. So there's beauty and there's boundaries. That's what I'll say. There's beauty and there's boundaries. Follow me on this now. I feel like oftentimes we get on this journey of studying African traditional religions because a lot of folks hear about orishas and are interested in orishas. You are free-flowing spiritualist. You know, you practice what makes you feel well. You practice what elevates your spirit. So you pull from various traditions. You got your crystals. You got your tarot cards, which also, speaking of tarot cards, make sure that you are studying where your tarot cards come from, your various decks, the cultures that brought that about, and all of that. Make sure you're studying that. If you're using playing cards, where does that deck come from? Where does the history of playing cards come from? Study all of that, right? So you're pulling from all of these various traditions. You got all your different tarot card decks. You got your crystals. You got all of these different practices. But then you want to work with Orisha. And to be able to petition Orisha and to divine through Orisha, you need to go through certain processes and ceremonies, also known as initiation, into ATRs. Now, various ATRs work with Orisha. You got Lukumi, you have Kunduble, you have Ifa, which is the foundation of it all. Then you have the Luau, where you have voodoo out of Benin. You have Haitian voodoo. You have voodoo in Louisiana, you know. So think about it. You want to work with these energies, and to be able to petition and divine through these energies, you need to go through certain ceremonies, also known as initiation. The problem could become you want to work with Orisha in the form of petition and divination, but then you still want to hold on to your free-flowing practices and your tarot cards and your crystals and all of that. And I want y'all to listen to me close when I say this. You can still do that. You can do that. You can do that. But there's a key way that you have to do that. Especially as African Americans, we have an attachment to our culture. And a big part of our culture as African Americans is Christianity. You have an attachment to the Bible. You have an attachment to gospel music and things that come from church. Then you go on a spiritual journey and you start studying crystals, and you got your crystals that come from this culture. You got your tarot cards that come from that culture. You got your yoga that comes from this culture. You got your breathwork practice that comes from that culture. And then you start pulling. So you have your own cultural practices. Then you start pulling from other cultures, and then you learn about Orisha and ATRs, and then you want to initiate into Ifa, or initiate into Lukumi, or initiate into Konduble or Santeria, or whatever ATR that you're interested in, right? Because now you want to be able to petition and divine through Orisha, right? And the reason I keep saying that you want to join this ATR because you want to petition and divine through Orisha is because if we're being honest with ourselves, most of us discover ATRs through Orisha. Most of us hear about Oshun and Shango and Yemoja, and that's how we get on the journey of studying ATRs. So you become interested because of Orisha, but then you find out that, okay, I can honor Orisha without being initiated, but if I want to petition and divine through, then I need to be initiated, right? So you start the journey and you potentially want to initiate to these ATRs, but you don't want to let go of all of these other wellness practices. You don't want to let go of all of these other things that make you feel better and make you feel happy and make you feel whole. These other things you have an attachment to. I want to explore that. When it comes to what we have an attachment to, I want y'all to assess your attachment and be honest with yourself. Do you have an attachment to Christianity? Do you have an attachment to tarot cards? Do you have an attachment to yoga? Do you have an attachment to crystals because it truly elevates your journey? Or is it because this is what you are told a wellness journey is supposed to look like? Or is it because this is what you have been told a spiritual person is supposed to do and what it's supposed to look like? Really assess, is this what you really want to do? Is this really helping you? Is this really elevating you? And I'm not saying this to try to advise you to get away from it. I just want you to be clear about your intention of wanting to hold on to it. What is your intention of wanting to hold on to it? It's okay to feel connected and to want to hold on, but what is truly your intention? Because when you start exploring ATRs and potentially initiating into ATRs, you are going to have to mind your attachments. You have to. You're going to have to mind your attachments. And it's not that you have to let these attachments go. It's not that you have to disconnect, but you have to be able to compartmentalize. You have to be able to compartmentalize. If you are desiring to initiate to an ATR, you feel called to it, you feel led to it, you feel like Orisha is calling you, Ifa is calling you, whatever, Lawal is calling you. You feel called to an ATR, but you still have an attachment. You have a few options here. Most often, many ATRs will still allow you to indulge in your other practices, but you have to keep your ATR work separate. That's just what it is. Okay? The way I explained it to the wellness community is there will never be a day that you are going to be shuffling tarot cards and calling it E5 divination. It's just not. Tarot cards do not come from E5. You have to compartmentalize. You can still use your tarot cards, but do not blend it with Ifa. Do not blend it with Lukumi. Do not blend it with Santeria. There will not be a day where you're shuffling your tarot cards and saying this is a Shango divination. It just won't. It just won't. And I may be stepping on some toes because I know some folks think that this is what they're doing, but let me tell you why this is an issue. We have to be mindful of not blending practices. Simply because when you do that, you take credit from the source that comes from. You are erasing the history of a people. And if someone did it to you, how would you feel? If it happened to you, how would you feel? If someone took your practice and blended it with their own beliefs and never named you, they said, actually, we doing this, and this comes from this, and this is this. So we're not going to say your name no more. We're going to take your ideas. We're going to take your cosmology. We're going to take your ideology. We're going to take your morals and values. We're going to take your practices, and I'm going to attach it to what I already do and what I already know. We just going to call it this. I made my own name for it. Your history is erased. We have to be mindful of what we're doing. We have to be mindful of the impact of our intention. Do not blend practices. Compartmentalize. You can initiate into Ifa and still hold on to your attachments and still practice that. But just be mindful about insinuating, saying, or pretending like these practices come from Ifa. And a lot of folks want to do this. A lot of folks want to pretend that they are fully dedicated to Ifa. I'm all about Ifa, but they still hold on to these outside attachments, and you want to call that Ifa to make yourself feel better. You want people to think that you are a fully dedicated, all about Ifa person, and you want to use these Ifa titles, but you still want to hold on to these outside practices to make yourself feel better. There's nothing wrong with having outside practices and holding on to outside things. There's nothing wrong with that, y'all. It's not at all. It's okay. But you have to be mindful about insinuating that these things represent Ifa. And let me tell you how people try to do it. Let me tell you how people try to do it, because I don't want y'all to do this. Please don't. What people try to do is and it's a common thing, it's almost natural, is we try to build relationship between these practices and Ifa or Lukumi or Santeria. So you'll practice tarot cards, and you'll try to say, well, tarot cards is a form of divination. And in Ifa, there is a form of divination. So tarot card divination could be Ifa divination, because divination is divination, right? That's how we try to like rationalize it. That's how we try to make sense of it. So we'll say, oh, well, I should be able to practice this divination and call it Ifa divination, because Orunmila is over divination, and Orunmila is over tarot cards, right? Because if he's over divination and tarot cards is a form of divination, then he's over tarot cards, right? So we blend it, boom. This is Ifa divination, shuffling my tarot cards, Ifa divination. You got to be mindful of that. You got to be mindful of that. You learn about energies from other practices, right? And then you want to say, oh, well, in Ifa, we have a similar type of energy, and it's called this. So I know that the Greeks have this, and Ifa, we have that. So see, boom, it's the same thing. I could practice this too, because technically that comes from Ifa, because we have a similar energy. So I could practice this and Ifa, and I could call this Ifa. Boom, see, no, now this is Ifa. You see how that rationalization kind of goes? You see how we kind of make that mistake? I do understand that there are bridges. There are bridges. Various cultures have a lot in common. Various cultures have a lot of things in common. Some cultures even pull from each other and create their own version, right? So I understand that, right? But we got to give credit where credit is due. When you join an ATR, within that ATR, there are certain boundaries. There are certain restrictions, but there are also certain rights and certain bonuses. Okay? I want you to be mindful that if you are initiated into an ATR, you are essentially committing to that ATR. And an initiation is a form of commitment. When you do Itefa, you do full ceremony, you do the whole process, right? It's a form of commitment. When you make a commitment, it's not saying that you have to let these other things go, but you are essentially saying, I commit to this practice, this religion, this tradition in this way, as is. When you come in and you initiate and then you try to blend and make adjustments, you are kind of breaking your commitment. Because in a sense, you come in, you committed to this practice as is, but then you try to bring in your attachments, and then you want to try to bend and fold these practices and these odus, these scriptures to fit your lifestyle. Doesn't that sound familiar? Ain't that what some of y'all complain about with the church, when people bend scripture to fit their lifestyle or to fit their belief? When people bend odus to fit their lifestyle and fit their belief? You bend Orisha attributes to fit your lifestyle and fit your belief. Orunmila is over divination. Orunmila is over soul contracts. So Orunmila is over tarot cards. Ain't that kind of real toxic Christian of you to do that? Ain't that a little problematic for you to do that? Huh? I find that when we say you can do both, you just have to compartmentalize, that's not enough for some folks. What I've realized is some people, you don't want wellness. You want a label. You don't want wellness. You want a title. You don't want wellness. You want a community. When you are on a wellness journey, the label should not matter. The title should not matter. You are doing what feels well for you. That's it. And yes, what feels well for you may come from various practices, comes from various traditions. You don't have to have one label that sums up all of what you do. You don't have to fit in a box. I think oftentimes we are so accustomed to fitting in a box that we create our own. So you try to bend ATRs and you bend practices so you can create a box or pretend that you fit in this box. You want to fit in the E5 box. But you still want to do what feels well for you. So you got to try to bend E5 so you can fit what you do and fit your attachments into the E5 box. Because you still want to be a Ianifa, you still want to be a Babalawo, you still want to be a Ialawo. So you want to fit in this E5 box, but you still want to hold on to these attachments. So you got to bend Odus and bend E5 so you can still fit in that box. You don't need the label. You don't need the label. You don't have to fit in the box. It's okay. You don't need it. You don't need anybody's approval. You don't need anybody else's understanding. You don't need the label to fit your definition or your definition to fit the label. You don't. Okay? You can respect E5, practice E5. You can respect these other traditions and practice things from these other traditions, but you don't have to bend them to try to break them, to try to fit into one another because you want to fit in yourself. You want people to accept you and you want it all to make sense. You don't have to do that. Okay? And I spoke on the titles because the title is important. Another reason, if we being honest with ourselves, another reason some people get into these traditions is because you want the title. Because when you have a title like Babalawo, you have a title like Ialawo, you have a title like Ianifa, you have a title like Oluwu, which are priestesses, santera, I think priestesses, Babalorisha, Olorisha. You have these titles, it brings a certain amount of respect. It brings a certain amount of community, a certain type of community. And you want that community, you want that respect, so you want that title, right? I just urge you this, that I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I want you to research the definition of those titles. Please. When your title means that you are the keeper of the word of Olodumare, the keeper of the word in Ifa, the keeper of Ifa, the keeper of the word of Ifa. Ifa is the word of Olodumare. When your title infers that you are the keeper and you start teaching, you start practicing and doing divination, and you are saying, I am Iya such and such, I am Babalawo such and such, and your title represents that you are the keeper of the word of Ifa, y'all, let's stop playing games. We know that kind of insinuates that what comes out of your mouth is a representation of Ifa. When you say that, you are insinuating that what comes out of your mouth is a representation of Ifa. So when you lead with these titles, but then you want to still teach on things that are not Ifa, it's important that you clarify that this is not Ifa. I'm not saying that you can't teach on other practices and have these titles. I'm not saying that you can't. But what I am saying is you have to be very clear about differentiating that, yes, I know that I am a representative of Ifa because I said this title, I said this name. But this that I'm about to talk about and this that I'm about to teach you is not of Ifa. It's okay to say that. Because what I'm noticing is there is a lot of confusion that's happening. People are hearing Babalawos and Iyas talk about things that are outside of Ifa, and they are students and they don't know any better, and they're thinking that these things come from Ifa when they don't. So then they want to get into Ifa, but then they still want to bring in these practices and call it Ifa. And then we have to be like, that's not quite Ifa. You can still do it, but it's not Ifa. So when I'm seeing people on TikTok shuffling tarot cards talking about Oshun divination, Oshun is speaking through these tarot cards, I'm like, hold up. Hold on a second. And everybody has their own beliefs. But if we talking about traditionally, that is not a part of the tradition. Over time, things have been bent and shifted and changed to fit people's needs, to fit people's definitions and understandings. But if we talking about base, natural, traditional practice, that is not a part of tradition. The example I gave in the wellness community, I said, listen, I said, bishop is a title, right? Someone who is a bishop represents the church. They represent Christianity. You're not going to scroll down TikTok and see Bishop T.D. Jakes shuffling tarot cards. You're not. You're not. Because when he put that bishop on his name, he knows that he is a representative of this tradition. You're not going to see him doing it. I ain't never seen Bishop T.D. Jakes talking about a nine of cups. I've never seen it. So again, I'm not saying that when you have these titles, you can't teach on or can't practice different things, but you have to be clear that you are differentiating, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to become the person that's bending and twisting tradition to fit your attachments. You could still have your attachments. You could still learn and study and practice other things, but you don't want to bend and twist either of these things to fit into each other. That's the difference between bending and compartmentalizing. Yes, they have a lot of commonalities. Yes, there are energies from various practices. I could look at voodoo, and there are energies in voodoo or voodoo that some of those luau's have a lot in common with Orisha. But we still gonna respect them and call them luau, and we still gonna give credit to voodoo because that they deserve that credit. They are a tradition that has been here long before I ever existed. So who am I to think that I have the power to bend and twist their luau and bend and twist their tradition to fit my own personal needs and description and attachments? I don't have that right. There's a lot in common, but I gotta give respect. I got to give respect to what they do and respect to what I do. So again, when you are a free-flowing spiritualist, please study everything. Practice what is aligned with your wellness. Practice what makes you feel well. Practice what elevates you. Master those practices, meaning acquire great skills. Study them, practice them, acquire great skill in them. Master those practices, but please, if you are seeking to initiate or not, even if you're not initiating, please respect the boundaries of those practices. Please respect the boundaries of those traditions. You want the rights that come with them. You want to be able to work with Orisha, petition Orisha, and divine through Orisha. You want the rights that come with them. But you don't want the restrictions that come with them. You don't want to respect the boundaries that come with them. You want to be able to cross the boundaries and bend and flip and twist and do all of these maneuvering so that you could fit in this box and still bring all your attachments with you. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Okay? You can still do both. Just be comfortable not fitting in a box. That's an internal thing. Just get comfortable with not fitting in a box, and that's okay. Just get comfortable not necessarily having or holding on to a label and a title. Just get comfortable being free-flowing. You can do that. You have to be comfortable with being free-flowing. You have to be comfortable with saying, hey, I don't really fit into any box. Because when you put yourself in a box, you attach expectations to you. When you go out here promoting that I'm representing this ATR, I'm representing this tradition, you are automatically placing those restrictions and those boundaries onto you. And then anytime you step outside of those box, people are going to look at you like, what's going on? And then you got to find yourself explaining. Just be a free-flowing spiritualist. Just be free-flowing. Get comfortable with being free-flowing. Get comfortable with giving credit where credit is due. Get comfortable with studying the history of all of these practices and things that you are pulling from. Get comfortable with not blending certain things and doing things as they are. Get comfortable with that. Please. You can study everything. But I promise you, as you master these practices, when you do the right thing and you give credit where credit is due, when you respect boundaries and you respect traditions, when you have a certain level of respect, life is so much better. Life is so much easier. When you just do your work and do what feels well for you, it's your own wellness journey. And your wellness journey is perfectly catered to you. You don't need anybody's labels. You don't need anybody's boxes in order to be well. I know you want community, but you can find community in what you do. There's a lot of free-flowing spiritualists out here who's like, hey, I love this ATR. I'm initiating to this ATR. I'm committed to this. And I also practice this and I also study this. Hey, I am whatever insert title in this ATR, but I also still study and practice these things. Compartmentalize, and understand that you don't have to blend in order to make other people comfortable. You don't have to blend in order to make yourself feel better about not fitting into these boxes. You don't have to blend in order to fit in anywhere, including your own personal limitations, including your own personal ideas. Because what I find is that a lot of us have the box in our mind. A lot of us still have these boxes in our mind. We still believe that the only way we can represent Ifa and initiate into Ifa is if we drop everything else and fully dedicate and fully commit to Ifa. I was talking to Ia about this, and Iani Fashandra. I was talking to her about this, and you know what she said? I want y'all to keep this, okay? And I hope she goes live and go in detail about this theory, because it hits hard. Ia said, a lot of people are still holding on to the trauma. A lot of people are still holding on to the trauma. And you know what that trauma is? That trauma is the church. A lot of y'all have been taught that the only way to be a good Christian is if you practice Christianity and Christianity only, and this is how Christianity should be practiced, and if you don't do it this way, then you going to hell. A lot of us are still holding on to the trauma of church. So when you go on your wellness journey and you start practicing these other things, but then you learn about ATRs, you think that because tarot cards don't come from Ifa, then you're going to go to hell if you practice tarot cards. That's not how Ifa works, baby. That's not how Lukumi works, baby. That's not how Santeria works, baby. That's not how Condoble works, baby. Okay? That's not how voodoo works, baby. Nobody is telling you that if you practice these... Okay, y'all, I'm going to have to go because the phone about to tap out. But nobody is telling you that if you practice these things, then you are going to go to hell. This ain't the church. I promise you. Nobody is saying that. In ATRs and most African traditional religions, and I'm going to tell you why I say most, but in most African traditional religions, you can practice that ATR and still have love and respect for other traditions. Actually, in Ifa, that is the only thing you can do. The only thing you can do is have love and respect for other traditions. Nobody says you got to throw all of this away. If you choose to throw it away, it's of your own choice. Most people will tell you, when they reached a certain level in initiation and they began to practice E5 divination, they felt no need to practice tarot anymore because their E5 divination was more powerful than tarot has ever been for them. So they naturally just let it go. E5 will never ever tell you that you're gonna go to hell if you do that. That's not a part of it. Santeria that's not a part of Santeria. That's not a part of most African traditional and African diaspora traditional religions. Are not going to condemn you for still having your attachments. That's church trauma that's still in your mind. The idea that you have to choose is church trauma. It just is. You can still be a free-flowing spiritualist and do your thing and be fully initiated. The only issue is that you cannot bend Ifa so that you can fit in this box because the church told you you're going to go to hell. So you want to rationalize and make reason because something inside of you feels like this is wrong. It's not wrong. Your ATR is not telling you that these things are wrong. So it's no need to bend. There's no need to pretend that this fits in this box because nobody is telling you this is wrong. You don't have to pretend that this comes from this ATR because this ATR is not telling you that this is wrong. Okay? You have no obligation to bend things to fit into this box because nobody is telling you that you have to fit into this box or you're going to go to hell. Nobody's telling you that. That's a figment of your own imagination from your own trauma. Please remember that. Know that. Okay? So free-flowing spiritualists, study everything. Practice what aligns with your wellness. Be well in it. Give credit where credit is due. Yes, you can initiate into an ATR and still practice things outside of that ATR as long as it makes you feel well. If you are going to adorn your ATR title and you want to still teach on things outside of that ATR, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure that you are very descriptive that, hey, this does not come from this ATR. This actually comes from insert credit of that culture, insert credit to that practice from wherever it comes from. Okay? You don't have to attribute it to your ATR because you want to fit the confines of the title. Okay, so you can still have your title and still use your title and teach on these other things. Just make sure that you are verbally clear that that does not come from your ATR. Okay, being a free-flowing spiritualist is a beautiful thing. It really is. You can practice multiple things at the same time. Just know the difference between blending and compartmentalizing. Okay? I love y'all dearly. I love y'all dearly. Wellness community, we're going to do a quick Zoom. Okay, we're going to do a quick Zoom. I'm going to send the link to the chat. We're going to do a quick Zoom. I'll see y'all in probably about 5 minutes. Huh? I love y'all so 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. All right, give me 10 minutes. I love y'all dearly. Here come Diddy. He said we about to end it. We about to end it, Diddy. Are you more comfortable with the flowers? Can mama touch the flowers and you be comfortable? Okay, y'all. Shout out to Roses Forever. Go get Rose Forever. The link is in the bio. They last up to a year. Look, he's smelling them now. He's comfortable. They last up to a year. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You don't have to do anything to them. They smell amazing. I'm just sitting here breathing in the scent. It smells so good. $25 off. The link is in the description of this video. The code, TheQueenPo 25. Please, $25 off. Go support Rose Forever. Beautiful gift this holiday season. I'm gonna hold it up. Diddy probably gonna bark, but gorgeous. Look how big it is. Oh, didn't damage nothing, huh? Yeah. Didn't damage. They durable too, huh? They're durable. They're durable, huh? Yo. They good and sturdy roses, huh? They're good and sturdy, okay? Because Charlotte just took a tumble, didn't she? Okay. $25 off the TheQueenPo 25. The link is in the description. They last up to a year through hella hot water, as we can see. Huh? You just saw it right here. Tried, trusted, and true. Okay, look. They still feel very rosy. They don't feel rough or anything. It's all vegan, treated with natural oils, smells amazing. They have a variety of colors, variety of different shaped boxes. Rose forever. Go get your solid, durable, good smelling, last up to a year roses, okay? Get into it. I love y'all dearly, wellness community. I will see y'all in a few minutes. No, the box is velvet. It's nice and beautiful. Wellness community, I will see y'all in a few. Love y'all dearly. Much peace, much light. Y'all get on out of here now, okay? Peace.